I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Board of Leavenworth County Commission, and I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, all three commissioners are present. I'd like to start we're going to have two sessions today. We'll start our first session. We'll start with public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address. Mr. Klemp.
Louis Klemp, 1816 Pine Ridge Drive, Leavenworth, Kansas. And I'm going to start speaking for 182nd Street also, since they don't get up.
Oh, I better turn my phone. I was waiting on a call on the dust control guy, but I better turn that off and let him go to voicemail.
Very good. So I hope you're coming along on 182nd Street, okay?
I think we are.
Very good. Okay. I'm actually here, I was going to talk on the contract, and I hear it's not going to be talked about today, for Megan Waters.
I believe Mark pulled that, correct?
The county's attorney asked that to be pulled for this week because there was an error in it that they need to fix.
Okay, so it'll be next week.
Okay. So the county...
It'll probably be next Thursday then, would you say?
I would guess, but it just
it-
depends on, they'll have to go back to Megan's attorney and make sure that the language fixes it.
I'd say probably Thursday.
And then Megan, it's attorney talk now. It's
Yes,
not-
sir.
It's not people talk.
No.
It's attorney talk. You said the county attorney.
The county's attorney.
Oh, the
attorney
county
representing the
attorney,
county.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm going to start with conflict of interest. You know, it's totally amazing, and I mean amazing, that we don't understand conflict of interest.
I think I do, Mr. Clem.
Boom. Morning there, Mr. Graber.
Morning.
Smith.
Thank you.
Mr. Holland.
Yes, sir.
And I feel this about all the contracts that have been made since the counties started going downhill. I think that, and as I say, conflict of interest, I think that the gentlemen or the gentlemen who are involved in conflict of interest need to remove themselves from voting on any of the contracts in any way, because they have a conflict of interest. And what I handed out, and I have a copy for Leavenworth Times, I also appreciate the fact that an attorney just saw the most important thing. The attorney Anderson for Anderson Bird have said that Dave Van Parish, Roger Mark, Patrick Hurley, Janice Van Parish, Janet Klaczynski, Louis Klemp, Dean O'Rourke, David Hoffman, Dennis Bigsby, Molly Hill, and Andrew Dedeke. Our emails don't really need to be held, except he went back except for Molly Hill. I'm very concerned with and I have the feeling that Miss Hill could have went on and possibly been a good county councilor. But I don't know how you three are retaining her at this time. You know, we can talk about the fox in the coop, or we can talk about a heck of a lot of things, and she does have a conflict of interest. Now, I don't know if she's the perfect person, but we find out Supreme Court justices aren't perfect. because we put them in office and they can't go by what the Constitution says. I really think you ought to remove the 4, and that is the 2 county counselors, human resource, and the executive position out there, Road and Bridge. Those 4 need to be removed. Personally, I say without pay. Now, somebody's gonna say, oh God, we're gonna get sued. You know, you're gonna get sued anyway. You're gonna get sued. So does it really matter who's suing, when they're suing? Why not let them take the initiative? Because they're the ones with the bad contracts, in my opinion. And the courts are gonna prolong it for eternity, because we have people in the county that they don't wanna take it because, I don't know, are they looking at their political future? I don't know what it is. This can be resolved overnight, and we just keep going along. And it didn't bother me that I was on somebody's list. I guess it was Mr. Robinson's list. He wanted to have my emails and I don't know what he's looking for in my love life, or I don't know what he's looking for. It'd probably be pretty boring to him. But I think it's time for you gentlemen, removing Bob, because he's got a conflict of interest. I don't care what you say on any contract. Of those 7, I think it was, he has a conflict of interest. You need to know that. You need to know that. He will never know that, because he's got a conflict of interest and he's erased that out of his mind. So I really think that, and then I get concerned. I remember a bill that we got. We didn't get it from, I don't remember who the attorney was for human resource. We didn't get the bill from the attorney. We got the bill from the human resource person. That's who you paid the check to.
That was before I was on the board, so I don't have
very good, and I appreciate
knowledge of that.
We're paying out money, we don't know where it's going and what it's going for. I mean, that's a heck of a position. That's almost a position of dictatorship. Notice I didn't say Nazism or that kind of hogwash. But she's probably asking for money for this attorney. I don't know that one way or the other. But somewhere she's got to pay for the attorneys. And if we keep paying for the attorneys and it's not coming through billing, we got another problem. So I would appreciate presenting up here who's paying the bill, where is the bill, and are we going to continue to keep the 4? I say personally, you fire them. I like without pay, because they're going to sue you and they're going to try to get the pay anyway. So let's put them out where they can spend all their time with their lawyers and see if they can beat this case. So that's the only thing I have to say, but I would appreciate if somebody would take some kind of action rather than me having to spend my whole 4th of July explaining what's wrong with the county to people all over the county.
You got that done in one day?
No.
Okay. We already know there is a conflict, Mr. Klemp, because we wouldn't have had to vote to waive the conflict of interest. I did not vote to waive the conflict of interest. The other 2 did. So there's obviously a conflict, or we would not have had to waive it.
Okay. I go along with that.
Okay. But I'm one person.
So I'm going to be sitting here waiting for that motion that one of you is going to make to fire the 4 and let them go outside our office. This is our office. Does anybody not understand that? We pay for this office. And we're going to allow the fox inside the chicken coop. That is the disgrace to Leavenworth County. And I hope you understand that, because there will be another briefing next week if I don't hear that motion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Klemp. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll close that. Any administrative business, Mark, Molly?
I don't have anything for administrative
Okay.
business.
I do.
All right, Commissioner Holland?
This'll, I asked for a records request to our county clerk, Janet Kosinski, and I'm requesting a copy of purchase orders for legal fees for the county treasurer for January 2015 to present, and I would like them unredacted. Of course, I got them back, and they were redacted. What I'm concerned with is account number 7-001-5-14-230. That is courthouse general. For those who don't know it, which I didn't know it till this morning when I got my email. And neither is it Janice Van Paris. It's not her account. Am I right? I believe the account that she has is the motor vehicle account. She has a general account, and then she has a tech account. So she has 3 accounts, and that's how she can fund her office. But she does not have this account that Doug Smith and, well, I think all the commissioners have signed off on it. Clyde, you signed off on it. Doug Smith.
Signed off, too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've
3
all,
commissioners signed it?
well, not this particular one. I did
Oh, okay.
this
All
one
right.
here.
Well, I'd
It's just-
say Mark can get with clerk and figure this out. Is that-
What I
would
want
that be
to
acceptable?
know is how can she just present this purchase order and for legal fees for David Hoffman, Vaso Law Office for $4,202.92. We pay it just on the 2 signatures when there was not a vote. Doesn't there have to be a vote?
We have to
this?
vote on every bill?
Yeah, not every
Okay.
bill, but
All
this
right.
is a bill that's outside her scope. I just want to know, I would like to know
All right,
exactly what we're paying for. That's my concern, is,
Okay.
I
Well,
mean, you don't want to pay, if I give you a bill, don't you want to know what it's for?
I do, but elected official, county clerk seemed to agree with that.
But they're not the ones, us 3 have that.
Well, we'll get some more information on that, Commissioner. I'm sure Mark
Well,
can get us what we need.
Mr. Klemp, I can remember you have been on HR's case for quite some time. And I can remember you stating that you wanted it, you asked for a copy of the $2,000 bill that she filed for legal fees, and you wanted it, a copy of it, so is what she was asking. Well, here I've got documentation, and it comes from the clerk. I imagine it comes from Janice Van Paris, $48,961.41. Then I looked farther into this, and she has also taken out almost $14,000 out of the general fund, or the general account, and that she has no authority to do. It's got to be the 3 of us that do that. And I just want to know what we're paying for here. I think that we have the right to know what we're paying for. It's kind of like signing a blank check and giving it to someone, and you're not knowing what you're paying for.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Mark can get us the information we need.
I'd be happy
Commissioner,
to.
would you give those billings to Mark, let him research that and get back to us?
Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Clint.
I agree with you, Bob.
You do?
Yeah, I agree with you all the time. Sometimes I don't tell you, sometimes I do. But it's the same thing with downstairs. Nobody should have the right to spend any of our money without the proper direction and authority.
I agree.
So you need to add to that report, I don't know, I'd like to see where she wrote a check to her attorney, human resource. It's nice to know, so you could include that in the same report, so we can know what's going on in our county. Because the money you're talking about, we could probably done 182nd Street, and this gentleman wouldn't have to come anymore. So,
I don't follow you there on 182nd. We approved dust abatement.
I know that, but it could have been done years ago. But, so if we're gonna ask for one, let's get it all out in the, where we can see it. And Mark can do that,
He can,
and he will do that.
and he will do that.
Very good. And
And
let me
there's-
know when that's gonna be, so I can be here for that one, because I'd like to know where I'm spending my money. I pay a
I
lot to the
agree.
county.
And there's a lot of roads that should have been done years ago for less money,
I agree, totally agree. Thank you.
but we kept kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, don't let go to your head, Bob, because next time I'll just,
Then the road got so bad we couldn't kick the can down it anymore. But-
Too many holes in the road.
Yep, but anyways. Any other administrative business then? If commissioners had a chance to go over the minutes.
I did. I looked over the minutes and motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
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 Okay. The agenda for the week of July 10th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
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 Motion to approve the OCBs. We have a few today.
Oh, we do?
We do.
I make motion to have the chairman sign and date the OCBs.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
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 And approve the bills for the month of June.
I move that the bills that were submitted and reviewed and approved by the county commissioners be approved.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
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 We pulled the other, any other business on this session, Mark? So a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Second.
voting.
Aye.
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 And we'll begin our next session 2, which would be the department head quarterly meeting. I guess our biggest thing with department heads now, I'd really like to know how everybody feels about the budget and our attempt to lower the mill levy by 1/2 of a mill. Does anybody have any concerns or anything on that? Everybody's budgets, you can live with these budgets. It's not going to be a deal breaker. Yes, sir, Mr. Clem?
this whole time we've been talking about a half a mil.
Yes, sir.
Which half mil were you talking about?
The half mill that was put on for the Justice Center roof.
Okay,
Commissioners, I believe last year pledged to have it on for 1 year, and the roof will be
So that's the
completed
half
this
mil.
year. That's the half mill.
there's nothing coming down below that.
No, I
Okay.
don't, no, it'll be a flat mill basically with that removed.
Very good. We knew that was coming on.
Right, and you know, it is the first year with the tax lid, so
Yep.
it is a learning curve for, I think, all of us, and especially me. But like I said, we're gonna do our best to hold the line and lower the mill levy, and maybe next year with all the growth in the southern part of the county, maybe we can lower it some more next year.
Very good.
Maybe
Thank you.
we'll have to.
Maybe we'll have to, well, we will, I mean,
Yeah, we
you know,
will.
with the tax
I
lid
mean,
and all
if
that,
the-
I mean, their first year
unless
is
they
kind of
do
your
away with it.
base, and next year,
Unless the tax lid's done away with, we will be mandated to do
Right.
that.
right, so, it's best we can do this year, I think, Mr. Clem.
Thank you.
And you know, it would have been very easy to leave that $500,000 in on the needs of the county, but, or wants, needs and wants, I guess, we balance it there. But anyway, does any department heads, they have any concerns about turnover or anything? Everybody's departments are they holding their line on your retaining employees? Everything seems to be okay now, except for maybe Public Works. Public Works got everything filled right now?
Currently, yes.
But you had 5, 6 vacancies?
Yeah, those have all been
I would like to just provide an update on the insurance. We're still waiting for our renewal on that.
That was
We went
gonna be
out
my
for-
next one.
We went out for
Not my next one.
additional proposals. We're still waiting for those to come back. There was one item identified in our current renewal, an option that we don't participate in that they had included. So the Blue Cross Blue Shield, who's our current provider, did remove that and resubmitted the renewal, and it's 13% increase instead of the 23. So that's better, but it's still not great. And we still plan on getting some other options just
Okay.
to see where we're at in the
Yeah.
market. So,
For anybody who don't know, I believe we got hit with a 23%.
yeah.
And early indications was it was only going to be between 7 and 9, and we figured maybe 10%, and then the 23% was pretty devastating. That could have ate up that $500,000 pretty easy, Mr. Clem. But they're working on it. Yes, sir.
Question, who runs the county?
County commissioners.
Very good. If I was working in the county.
Oh, no, let me take that back. Mark runs the day-to-day operations.
There you go. Your policy
Yes,
and budget.
right. Mark runs the day-to-day operations.
You heard that. We
I
got-
did,
we
yeah.
got that established again, didn't
Thank
we?
you, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't be here every day, all day.
That's
Mark
good, and
can.
I don't want you here every day.
The public's probably better off if we aren't.
You said that, I didn't, but there might be some agree with it. How many departments do you have that work for Mark?
All of them that's not elected.
Was it 26? Got just a rough idea?
26, 15.
50?
15.
Oh, 15.
15 total
15
departments. I was gonna say, my God, 15, okay. How many department heads do we have? Let's see, we got one, you representing the clerk, ma'am? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I guess you can count you as 2, no, 7, 8, 9,
10, 11.
11.
That's
Where are the other 4?
I'm
Man,
sure.
When your boss has a meeting, why aren't they here? This is very important, you know, and it was brought up over the 4th as I'm explaining the county. What's the possibility of having a meeting twice a year where people come in and sit down and pass out information? Well, you know, we're thinking about doing a subdivision down here, and if we could get some help here, help there, do this, do that, you get the county counselor giving some thought, you get the administrator giving some thought, the county commissioners, each department head, and they're not afraid of, well, what am I going to say? Gosh, I don't want to say anything that's going to... No, it's an information time. It was asked, can everybody live with a budget?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a time to respond, but there are other things going on in the county. And I don't understand the lack of participation by department heads other than talking to department heads.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get out and talk to these people and that person so we know that you're performing in your position.
Mm-hmm.
We have good department heads, but they have to start performing in that position. Where's the sheriff? Where's the county attorney?
Not sure.
Oh, no.
They're elected.
Oh, yeah, they're too important to be here, I understand.
But Mark does, and you may not know this, but Mark does a weekly update on each department. He emails us on Fridays usually, and with a weekly update on what all departments are doing.
Yeah, but they ought to be here talking to you guys.
Yeah.
And-
I agree.
Well, I agree.
And
I
any
agree.
other time, they ought to be here talking to Mark.
Right.
Yeah, Mark got this problem.
No,
So-
Mark has a lot of
And
interaction
probably-
with department heads.
And
Some
we
of them
also
probably
have,
do that.
we have other monthly meetings that I
Yeah.
meet with them in as well.
Right.
So.
But I think it's very important to meet with your boss.
But-
I'll tell you what.
It is, but the weekly updates keep us pretty much on top of what's going on.
Charlie Tillinghast had called me and said, I would like for you to come to New York. I've been there. That's who used to run TWA. And Genghis Khan, that's who took over and sold TWA out. No, I was getting ready to retire, probably when I went to his meeting. Because he bought out a lot of companies and sold them out. That was his job. But if my boss asked me to be there, I'd be there. So I think it's, Mark, you ought to say something to him, but you have to direct him to it, I guess.
Well, the elected officials are elected.
Right.
And
One of the
We like to
elected
work with them.
officials that you referenced, we can't make them come over.
No, those two over there you can't.
Right.
But I would think out of respect, because you handle my budget, I would be,
That's more of a threat.
well, it's a hidden threat.
Well, if nobody else has any questions or concerns, I would like, being Mr. Lujan, Mr. Joseph, Mr. McGaha, and Jamie are here, Mr. Miller, the sunflower thing that's going to happen in Tonganoxie. I know you guys have been meeting. Are we getting close to anything that's going to work with the Grinters or Farmer Ted or however anybody want to
Oh.
start? I mean,
Jeff will take the hot seat.
this is a big deal for the
Yes.
county. I mean, I know you guys have been working on it, I appreciate that, but we've got to come up with something, a
Good morning,
plan.
Commissioners. We did meet with the Grinters and all the department heads probably a couple of times. And last week we met with Mr. Grinter and kind of told him what our concerns are. It looks like what he wants to do is just grow sunflowers. So there's nothing we can do to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I know, but like I said, the traffic and all that, I just, if we got a plan to be ready for this.
I think a little background line or whatever, maybe don't understand the challenge that this creates is that the last few years it's just escalated. More and more people go out and get their pictures taken at the sunflower field. And last year the estimate was that over Labor Day weekend we had probably 150,000 people come out on basically a dirt road that can't handle that kind of traffic, and it backed up clear out on the state highway and cleared down to 222nd, I believe. Almost to the onto the turnpike. It was blocking the off ramps on the turnpike. So it's a significant traffic concern, a health concern, a safety concern. We're trying to work with KDOT, the Kansas Turnpike Authority, all of our staff that you've mentioned, and we've met with the Grinters, and the Public Works Department has tried to work out a traffic control plan, but there's a cost to that. Renting the reader boards and the barriers and everything else is estimated, David, was around $40,000 just for the traffic control devices, not including the labor to go set them. And then, the Sheriff's Department has a huge amount of overhead for their staff to be down there trying to respond to the increased traffic and the backup. And last year there were 3 accidents on state, or on 2440 that were directly related to this traffic backup. So those are all concerns we're trying to address, and we will have, I'm sure, several more meetings between now and when the sunflowers bloom, which
It's not that far off.
a couple months. We're
We're
probably
done
planting them.
past the 4th of July, and Labor Day's around the corner.
They're probably planting them this week, and they were going to stagger their planting this year, so it's actually going to be a longer season. So people have more of an opportunity to go down there. I don't know if that means we'll have more traffic or if that'll spread it out a little bit, but definitely something we're working on. And I think we'll do the best that we can, but I don't don't know that there's any way for us to force the Grinters to participate if they choose not to.
Right. City of Tonganoxie, they have any input on any of this? I mean,
We haven't heard.
I know
from-
I think last year, they were talking about maybe having a sunflower acknowledgement, but I don't think they could afford to fund the event. They had the money to do the Tongi Days, and they weren't able to do 2 events. But that's unfortunate. I think that if they had something like that, maybe Tongi would get some of that traffic. But I guess somebody needs to open up a business and run a shuttle there, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, that would be a great plan, but I don't know that any shuttle that could handle even the 60,000 people a day. And we talked about that. They would get caught up in the same traffic.
Right.
And so the
Right,
difference
yeah,
is you're
that's
sitting on a
true.
bus instead of in your own car.
I guess we could
So-
put the traffic counters out, and we might be eligible for federal funding on all of our roads down there. Increase, but, yes, sir, Mr. Clemp.
You know, we talk about the sales tax and have money for this, have money for that. I don't live in Tonganoxie. I go through Tonganoxie. I eat at Kelly's at Baser's once in a while. But I think we're not taking up enough of the attitude to say, let's get this done. You realize how many people come out of Johnson County? Out of Johnson County. God, look at that money we're getting out of.
Oh, I think there's people come from out of state to
Oh,
look at these.
Lord, yes. But what I'm saying is, this is a big thing.
It is a big thing.
It's on the news.
Yes, sir.
And that's something we should have been doing all along, outselling Leavenworth County. Some of these people come into Leavenworth County and they say, hey, it's cheaper. I can buy the house, what, $50,000, $60,000 cheaper here in Leavenworth County. So, honey, instead of living at 250th Street, why don't we buy a lot out there and build in Leavenworth? So, you know, it's a big chain reaction. I don't know why, ever who you mentioned, the planning and zoning, and I'll relate one thing to planning and zoning. Leonard Rafter worked for the city of Leavenworth. And I went to him and I said, this is my plan, 1976. He said, Bud, we can't do that. You have to be a cousin. Now, was there conflict of interest? God, I don't know. But he said, we can't do it that way. But he said, give me a couple days. He called back and he said, we can't do it that way, but we can do it this way. So Road and Bridge, Sheriff, and everybody ought to be saying, we got 150,000 people coming in there. Is there any way we can do it, as Mark said, with safety and everything, and get the job done for Tonganoxie? Because Leavenworth will get something out of it. You know what we get? Sales tax. Who knows where they're going to eat, where they're going to buy gas. We get the sales tax. And sales tax is what's making this county be able to perform. So these 4 or 5 people that you mentioned ought to be meeting nightly. There may not be any way to resolve 150,000 people. You know, I could
It's
bring in-
difficult. That's why they're working on it. And
You know, you mentioned
we're,
the trolley.
I
I got
believe
a-
we're open to any suggestions.
I got a
because
trolley.
We don't want these people not coming to our county.
See, I got a trolley, there, 150,000.
There's our business
And I
right
can
there.
haul 15 people, because I don't have a CDL, okay? 15 people, divide that out. God, I'll be there all night, won't I?
No, for a couple weeks.
Yeah. So let's get it done. Let's get this thing.
That's what we're trying to do. Thank you, Mr. Clem. So, you said Tonganoxie, you haven't reached out to
Yeah,
any?
they have a new city administrator who may not be quite aware of the traffic from this. and
Oh,
I'll
I
make
think if he
sure-
lives in the state of Kansas, he's aware.
Yeah. Well, until you've actually been down there, I don't think you can grasp, because I live 10 miles from there, and I didn't realize there were 60,000 people over the weekend. So I think that's a staggering number, 60,000 people on a day.
I did, because I was out closing roads.
Yeah, so
but,
I'll make sure and reach out to the city
Yeah, and like I said,
administrator
if there's
on that.
anything we can do to accommodate these people, but if there's not, I guess what's our other option here? I mean, to provide public public safety, I guess. I mean, that's be our number one goal on that, so.
Is there-
When would your next meeting be? Excuse me, Ron.
You know, Public Works is working on the traffic control plan. Once
Mhm.
that's finished, then we'll meet again.
Okay. I guess, does this require Mr. Miller to have extra ambulances down in that area, or do you just stay?
It's routing once we know what the traffic control plans are gonna be and things of that
Okay.
nature, that we develop, obviously, response plans around and not through areas. And that's the concern that was brought to
Mhm.
the meeting, is how do we get, not necessarily just that area, but around, and the delays that that can cause and has caused, as well as when there's medical emergencies in the fields and such. So a lot of that was brought to the Grinters and asking
Mhm.
them to also provide how we're supposed to get into his fields and what accesses are to all the individuals that may be out there to
Mhm.
provide emergency care, as well as also on the public health side of things, sanitary waste and things of that nature. So some of that was also brought to them, is how they're going to control those issues as well.
Okay. Well, if this grows from one year to next and like it has, we're in trouble this year.
We were in trouble last year.
Well, we were in trouble last year, but anyway, there's no state agency that has any agritourism money or Chamber of Commerce or promoting the state sunflower.
I've talked with the agritourism director, and they do not have any money to help with any kind of traffic or promotion. It's just
Okay. Well, I hope we can get something worked out, because that's a lot of people coming to our county. But at the same time, we got to keep public safety in mind as number one priority. So, commissioners, you have anything?
No, I just
Department
wanted to
heads?
ask a question. Do the Grinters have any land that could be used as a parking facility to get vehicles off of the main road?
Yes, they do. They have like 15 acres dedicated for parking. But the problem is, if it rains, then they won't be able to use any of those areas, because it'll get muddy. And
Are they wanting to, and this is just a thought, are they wanting to gravel it or something to that?
they didn't mention anything about graveling, but they just
Well, what I'm not saying that, of course, I think they could help, because they are making money on this. This is an endeavor that, but what about the county help funding some of the gravel that could be put on the 15 acres and maybe even a little more acreage? Just a thought.
I think that it's a field the rest of the year. They only use it
So
for parking
That's
for
what
a
I was
couple of
wondering,
weeks.
but nobody spoke up and said,
Yeah.
are they farming it the rest of the year?
It's a field the rest of the year. It's just they
Okay,
use it for
so
parking
they don't
for
wanna
these few
gravel it.
weeks.
Chuck, you have any thoughts? We're just working on it.
Commissioner's Week, like the rest of us said, we're working on it. The traffic plan is going to be the biggest hurdle. I think if we can get through the traffic plan and there's our stipulations in place that it gets too big, what is the time to pull the trigger to shut it off? And,
Does anybody have any numbers that, what would be the amount that could be handled? Do you have a rough estimate?
I think we're there.
Well, no, we're past that.
And we've also talked about KDOT, and I don't want to get too far ahead of everybody.
Right.
But try to put event boards out at 110th or 110th and I-70
Mhm.
and direct them down State Avenue as to oppose coming off County Road 1. I mean, we know we're going to get them there, and then also come off of the 59 junction there at Lawrence, come in from the south and then up County Road 1.
Instead of everybody getting off at 222nd exit.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're
Okay.
talking about KDOT. And
Well, that'd get some,
PTA.
that should increase sales tax in Bayshore and Tongi.
Our
Run them
biggest-
off
our biggest
110.
concern is Garmin.
Yeah.
Where's
Oh, no, I
that?
know. It's gonna take you right down Wood End Road, probably. It does? Well. And if Wood End's backed up, they're gonna go to the next one. Yes, sir, Mr. Matthews.
John Matthews, 17629, 166th Street, Bayshore. It may sound silly, but could we create an event tax where every person, well, I'm just going to use the term of $1, came back to the county to help pay for these kind of expenses?
Well, yeah.
It's
On this
pie in the
on this
sky, but-
particular event, it's an agriculture deal, and I'm not sure.
But
You
does
have
it
much-
cross over because does he not, I don't know, but does he not charge an event?
No, it's
There's
donation, I
not.
Okay.
believe.
No, I think
That's not-
people make donations, but he's not actually charging a fee
Okay.
to
Yeah.
come
That's
to
all I
the
have to
field,
say.
so.
Thank you
Yeah.
for listening.
All
We
right,
looked
thank you,
into-
John. I was hoping
Yeah.
you'd had some planning and zoning experience that you would bring.
We have looked into and discussed options about whether a temporary special use permit would apply, but we don't think in this case it does.
Probably not on an agriculture deal. Well, I'm sure you guys can come up with something. I just, like I said, we don't want to turn these people away from our county. So, any other questions, commissioners, of it? Anybody have anything else? That's pretty much, and really the sunflowers is what I was hoping we would discuss a lot. And, because like I said, Labor Day's gonna be here before you know it.
Well, I would like, David, how is 207th Street coming?
207, slow.
No, that's not what I wanted to hear.
Crews get called off for other more important tasks such as culvert replacements, stuff like that,
You'll get it based and sealed this year, won't you?
so that's the goal.
Yeah. You can get if you get first shot in September, you can get September, even October, you can get your second after that. You should make that all right, won't you?
I hope so. That's what we're shooting for is to have it done this year.
Okay. Have you had to change any on the design of it? Have you had to tweak it any? Not much?
Here and there, little things,
Okay.
nothing.
Any questions, Commissioner Graver?
No.
Of anybody? Well, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your schedules to come. And like I said, I'm sure you'll keep us posted on the sunflower event. Thank you. You want a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Voting.
Aye.
Aye.